The driver's horn blasted through the frigid air, through the fragile layer of glass that was all that separated her from the tonnage bearing down on her. She'd have prayed, but she didn't have time to pray. She just slid. A fraction of a second later, the semi was blowing past, the sound of the horn trailing behind it, and the back end of the car was hitting the frozen ditch at the side of the road, tipping remorselessly over the bank despite the foot she'd jammed onto the brake, and all the momentum her Elantra hatchback possessed stopped in a single heartbeat. Her rear bumper landed against the far bank with a dull crunch, and her back slammed into the seat with the impact, the shoulder belt tightening, grabbing her even as her head bounced a little off the hard fabric headrest. And then it all ended, and everything was still, only the heater's fan breaking the silence. She stayed there, dazed for a moment, heart thudding, body starting to shake with freshly released adrenaline. "All right," she said aloud, and heard the tremble in her voice. All right. There, that sounded better. All right, she was in the ditch. She'd slid on ice she hadn't seen and stupidly hadn't anticipated. Watch for black ice, somebody had said as she'd left her very first meeting as a groundwater consultant, but she'd barely registered it because she'd been thinking about the check, the nice, big, fat check that would help so much and everything it represented as the next step on her career path. And now she was in the ditch. Call AAA. She had AAA, because when you move to a new job in a new city, well, a new town, 3 very large western states away from home in your 12-year-old car with more miles on it than God, you had AAA. Thank goodness. Her fingers were still shaking, but she got her shoulder belt unfastened, reached uncomfortably uphill and scrabbled around to find her purse, which had slid under the passenger seat, found her phone and got the number dialed. Just call, wait for the tow truck, cross your fingers you haven't done damage, and hope it doesn't take too long. Damage. She couldn't afford damage, not until she had that check. And she couldn't afford to be late to class on the day she gave her first exam, to make that kind of impression. But both things were looking like real possibilities. She was on hold. Of course she was on hold. Damn. She was concentrating so hard, trying so fiercely to hold herself together, that she jumped a full 2 inches when a face appeared at the window next to her. A face. A man. She was alone on a lonely highway, in the snow, incapacitated in the ditch, and there was a man at her car trying to get in. She could feel him jiggling the handle, and he was talking to her.
"Are you all right?"
He said it loud so she could hear him even through her closed window. She nodded, trying to look as in charge as a short woman in a red hatchback upended in a frozen Idaho ditch could look. She held up the phone and shouted, "AAA, I'm good." He looked a little amused, a little exasperated.
"Roll down your window,"
he shouted, and made rolling down motions with his hand. He was probably just trying to help. She realized that her car was still running, pushed the switch to lower the window a cautious 2 inches, and focused on him, since the phone was still playing elevator music. He wasn't all that comforting a sight. In his 30s, probably. Scruffy, dressed in a blue sweatshirt printed with Paradise Pumas that had seen better days, and a black baseball cap with CAT in big white letters. Not the animal, the equipment company, she knew that much. The square jaw, the bright blue eyes that matched the sweatshirt, and the shoulders that blocked the whole driver's side window were all fairly overwhelming. On the other hand, he wasn't exactly trying to ingratiate himself, which a predator would surely do. Instead, he had a frown on his face.
"Turn the car off,"
he told her. She blinked at him.
"Dangerous,"
he said.
"Your tailpipe's blocked. Turn the car off."
Oh. She switched the phone to her left hand, because she was still on hold, and turned the key. "Thanks."
"Need some help?"
he asked. "No, thanks," she said, trying to sound brisk. "I'm on the phone with AAA. I'm okay."
"Uh-huh."
He scratched his cheek with the knuckles of one big hand.
"They tell you how long it was going to be?"
No. Still on hold."
AAA dispatches out of Union City. Day like today, it's going to take an hour or two to get around to you."